So how close are we to Manchester United having new owners? Well, the so-called soft deadline for investors or potential buyers to buy the club is next Friday. Rain Group, the New York investment bank, has set the deadline for people to submit their bids or their offers for the club, and then from that point they'll take the process on, and the Glazer family who own the club will consider the bids or the offers of investment. Now, Rob Dawson and I have been told that the Glazer family are split on whether they want to sell the club or whether they want to retain an interest. Now, Joel Glazer and Avram Glazer, the two co-chairmen of the club, they're the two that have been involved in United pretty much on day one, when the takeover was completed in 2005. The other Glazer siblings, who are all directors, that's Edward Glazer, Brian Glazer, Kevin Glazer and Darcy Kasovitz, have taken more of a backseated role. Now, the four siblings have just been mentioned, have sold many of their shares in recent months and years. Joel and Avram retain the strongest stake in the club, and I've been told that the Glazers may want to retain a stake and have just new investors help them pay for what is basically a £1 billion bill that they have at United, which is to upgrade Old Trafford and also pay down the debt, which is now over £500 million. And the club also own £300 million, or more than £300 million in outstanding transfer payments. So the Glazers cannot, as they stand, fund all those changes themselves. They can't pay for the regeneration of Old Trafford. They can't pay down the debt without outside help. So they either sell the club or they invite sponsors or new investors to help, share the load. Now, that is the situation we're in right now. There's been lots of talk about Qatari interest in the club, Saudi Arabian interest, American consortiums, but what I've been told, what Rod Dorster has been told, is that some groups have been inquiring about United's potential sale to be told that the Glazers may yet want to retain an interest. So we don't know what's going to happen next week. The valuation of the club that the Glazers place is $6 billion, which is way higher than the record that was set by Denver Broncos as a sports franchise, which was just over 3.5 billion last year. Chelsea, who was sold for 2.5 billion to Todd Bowley's group last May, but that included an extra 1.75 billion pounds for future investment into the club. So the Glazer sale, the Man United sale, would be the most expensive sports franchise in the world. But the question is, do they want to sell the club? Or is it a case of seeking a new investor to help the Glazers in some shape or form remain at the club, whether it's just Joe Glazer and Avi Glazer and the other siblings that are bought out? But still, there's no definitive conclusion that the Glazers want to sell. So, interesting times ahead.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.